All right, so we're going to be adding mixed numbers. And I'm giving you two different examples. One is the easier version because there's no extra step at the end. So let's go through that first. First thing you're going to do again is you need to write it vertically. Write vertically. So it'll be 3 1/4 plus 3 5/8. Okay? Then you're going to do what we learned yesterday. You're going to add your fractions, and if you have to find a common denominator, you're going to do all that. I'm not going to write that in the step because we already know how to do that. So add fractions. So the common denominator for 4 and 8 is 8. So this one stays the same, but this one I need to multiply by 2. So 1 times 2 is 2. So I have 2 over 8. And now I can go ahead and add 2 over 8 plus 5 over 8 is 7 over 8. And then step 3 is add the whole numbers. Three plus 3 is 6. That's it when you have an easy example. You don't have to do anything after you add your fractions and then add your whole numbers. On the next page, we're going to do the more difficult example. So you should have the right version. Sorry, I had to scratch this out. So again, I'm not going to write step 1, 2, and 3 because they're the same. So we're going to write this vertically. So we have 10 8/10 plus 9 7/12. I'm going to add my fractions. So for this one, I need to figure out the common denominator of 10 and 12. I'm going to count by 12s to see if I get anything that 10 can go into. So I know it's 12, 24, 36, 48, and then 60, okay? That ends in 0, so I know 10 goes into 60. If I had multiplied together, that's 120. Whenever you get a really big number, it's probably too big, all right? So I'm going to set up my multiplication problems with 60 being my new denominator. Nothing's different yet. We know how to do all of this. 10 times 6 is 60. 8 times 6 is 48. 12 times 5 is 60. 7 times 5 is 35. So step 2 says to add your fractions. I can't do it in my head, so 48 plus 35. You can use a calculator for this. I'm doing it by hand. That's 1383. So I have 83 over 60. The next step says to add the whole numbers. 10 plus 9 is 19. The reason this is a hard example is because you can't leave it like this, okay? We cannot have the improper fraction anymore. If it were just a fraction by itself, that would be fine. But because we have a mixed number, we've got to fix it. So I need to see how many wholes, how many times 60 can go into 83. So I'm going to do a little division problem. 60 goes into 83 once. When I multiply, I get 60. I'm going to subtract, and I get 3, 23, and I turn this into a fraction. 23 over 60. So now I have 19 plus 1 and 23 over 60. So I'm just going to combine my whole numbers. So instead of 19, I have 20 and 23 over 60. So that is our final answer. Okay, so when you have an improper fraction, meaning your numerator is bigger than your denominator, that means you have an extra step, okay? So the extra step we're going to write is turn the improper fraction into a mixed number, then add. So that is that last step that we just did. You're going to do, I think, 8 practice problems again, and then you should be ready for your exit ticket. So you'll do 2, check your work, 2 more, check your work, just like the last lesson.